Do you qualify for an expungement? Indiana's second chance law, the expungement law, is a very, very powerful tool that allows people with criminal histories to get a fresh start. And yes, your criminal history can still be used for law enforcement purposes, but for the most part, it is a tremendous tool that can be used for employment, licensing, apartment searches, gun restoration rights, all types of things to give you a second chance to kind of restore some of the rights that maybe you were missing as a result of your criminal history. So who qualifies for it? And the answer is most people qualify at a certain time. There are a few cases that aren't going to qualify for an expungement ever, just based on the nature of the case. And we'll go over that to see if that applies to you. But the way to see if you qualify typically is to look at your most serious conviction, misdemeanor, level 6 felony, or higher level felonies, and then also look at the time of your most recent conviction. So if you have a misdemeanor in your background, if you only have misdemeanors in your background, you will be eligible for an expungement 5 years from the date of your most recent conviction. So if you have misdemeanors all through the 2000s and 2010s, say you have misdemeanor convictions in 2008, 2013, 2018, 2019, well still, those are, because they're all misdemeanors, you are eligible 5 years from the date of the 2019 conviction. So you'd be eligible in 2024. Now, if you have a felony conviction, a level 6 felony conviction at some point in your background, you'd be eligible for an expungement 8 years from your most recent conviction. So if you have felony convictions in 2006, 2016, and 2018, we'd be looking at 2026, 8 years from the 2018 conviction. Where it gets a little bit tricky is if you have some felonies in your background, but your most recent conviction is a misdemeanor. That's still 8 years from the date of the misdemeanor conviction. So if you have felony convictions in 2006, 2010, and then a misdemeanor in 2018, because you have a felony conviction, it's 8 years in that timeline from the 2018 misdemeanor conviction, so you'd be eligible in 2026. Hopefully that makes sense. So it's, again, looking at the most serious conviction, felony being 8 years, misdemeanor being 5 years, as the timeline from the most recent conviction. Now, if you have higher level convictions, major felony convictions, things get a little bit murkier because it's either 8 years from the conviction or 3 years from the end of the sentence. So it takes a little bit of looking into the case to see when you would be eligible, but we can do that for you. We have experience going in, seeing when exactly you're going to qualify, and if you don't qualify yet, giving you a timeline of when you'd be eligible so we can come up with a plan so that we're able to file that on the date you are eligible. Now, just because you're eligible doesn't mean it's going to happen immediately. We still have to prepare the paperwork, which we can prepare ahead of time to make sure we file on the day you're eligible. And then the state, once the paperwork is filed with the court, has 30 to 60 days typically to respond. So once we file, the timeline is pretty quick, but it's still best to be prepared so that we can get it filed as soon as you're eligible, 5 years from the date of most recent conviction, 8 years from the date of most recent conviction, whatever it's going to be for you to make sure we can get your criminal history expunged as soon as possible. Now, one caveat, one important thing to look at is if you were convicted of a felony that was later reduced to a misdemeanor, that's treated as if it was a misdemeanor the whole time. So it's still 5 years from the date of that original conviction. If you think you might be eligible for an expungement, or if you just want to talk to us more about the process, give us a call at 317-632-3642, or we're going to have a link for an expungement quiz in our description here so you can see if you're eligible. We'll review your answers and give you a call back right away to let you know if you qualify for an expungement. And remember, always plead the fifth.